Thank you all for being with us today on In the Spirit. I'm your host, Gary Goldberg. You're listening to WRPI Troy, and we're here every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're very happy to have Courtney Amundson with us in this hour. And I'm going to tell you about her for those people who haven't heard about her before. Courtney began her path as a seeker at a young age, progressing to the point that these teachings began to flow through her effortlessly and with complete love and joy, starting at age 16. We're talking about the teachings in the book, Teachings from God, Greeting Your Soul and Revealing the Divine Within. And we're going to focus on this book today, along with more about what Courtney does, and we'll let you know in a minute what that is. In the beginning, the wisdom she received was focused on her own personal evolution and understanding, but after a short time, she was guided to share it with as many people as possible through a book. And since then, she has worked single-mindedly on getting these teachings out to the public, not only through the work of the book, but expanding into sharing her insights through publishing articles and speaking. And in addition to her dedication to the advancement of the teachings, Courtney is actively progressing toward Qigong healing certification, as well as craniosacral therapy certification and more. She's a classical trained violinist, and she has a passion for music and free expression. The book Teachings from God has given Courtney the inspiration and tools to create the life that excites her, and more than anything, she wants to inspire you to do the same. You may contact the author at teachingsfromgod.com. Her Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and blog links are found on the website. And what I didn't read is that Courtney is a kirtan artist as well, as many of you know who have been listening to this program for some time, for a little while anyway. And I'm going to share something that she's working on for her new album. So we're going to start off our program with that, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. And we're going to hear that now. Thank you. There we go, and opening the day up with that. That's on Courtney Amundson's YouTube page. And Courtney, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for being with us again.
Oh, thank you so much, Gary, for having me back on. I just love being on your show, and I love all of our conversations and how we get to share about kirtan, and it's always fun.
It really is. And, you know, when we first started out doing radio, it was really because I had received the book, Teachings from God, Greeting Your Soul and Revealing the Divine Within, and really was a really good teaching book for me. So I started using it, and it hasn't really left my side at all. I mean, there are some books that channel material I like the best because it seems to reflect the higher consciousness, and where the personality of the human self, which struggles on this planet by and large, is not. You know, you've allowed that these teachings to come through you as a channel, but this is not coming from your personal self, is it?
True. I think it's interesting because people ask me about this all the time, and I say, you know, there's definitely a flavor of your personality that comes through, and I feel that in the book, but definitely when I was writing this, it felt really transcendent and really beyond me in a sense, and it was, and I've talked about this a lot with you, it was such an immersion experience, and the just the fast pace that it came out, and you know, it was so short of a time that I actually transcribed all of this, and within about 6 months I had like 900 pages of material, and it was really intense in the most beautiful way. But I think what is most, what I reflect on most now, 5 years later, is really how it's impacting people. And I love hearing stories, you know, from you and from a few select others that have really put more energy into it and feel the benefits of it on a daily basis. And I think that's what I love most about it now.
You know, I'm finding more and more I'm having conversations that I do have with people are about consciousness raising, you know, about what does it mean, about exploring it, how does it affect our lives, how does it look like, how does it feel when it works through our lives, what names do we use for it, what name, you know, I mean, and I had this really great conversation with somebody I've known, but we've never really talked before, and I just got so absorbed in talking about this. It seems like that, you know, it's so meaningful to me to talk about this in my life, and I'm in other people's lives too. You know, I mean, we have our varied interests. Like you're a musician, you know, and you have various interests, including kirtan, of course. But kirtan does not distract at all from. In fact, maybe nothing in your life distracts at all from these teachings, because, as these teachers say, everything's included.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel that this is just one expression of me, but it's not separated from the music. It's not separated from the art. It's all just different expressions of the same source coming through you, and that's why I try to not make it about me and about the information coming through, but more that this is the capacity that all human beings have when we get out of the way. And because I think that's an important thing, that a lot of people get caught up in the personality in front of, channeled material, or, what they look like or what they represent. And I think it's really underneath that, it's showing you that this is the capacity of all of humanity, and that's what's necessary for us to really raise the consciousness of the planet. And so, it's funny because people say like, oh, well, I do channeling and then I'm a musician and then I'm this or that. And I try to help people see that it's all connected. And so it's interesting. But I think, what you see in this book is a very immersed version of me where this is pretty much, what I was doing nonstop for that amount of time. And so there's a real depth to it, which I think most people can feel when they open up the book. But now I really see it as an aspect of me, and I feel that depth coming through now in the kirtan as well. It just comes through musically instead of in words. So that's what I love about this, I guess, evolution of where I am now.
And it is because we are growing. We are souls that are meant to grow here. We're here to fulfill our mission, aren't we?
Mhm. Mhm. And I think it
right.
also sort of can morph into different things as well. Like a lot of people ask me about the soul purpose and life purpose and what does that mean, and they're looking for theirs, and I kind of describe it as there's a great metaphor in the book about all paths being the golden ones. And I saw this vision a few years ago, like 5 years ago, where I was looking down and I saw this visual, and it was like my soul expression was looking for the right path or something, and the answer, really what I saw visually, was that there was all of these forks in the road and they were all lit up. And I think I had this understanding that there was one and there's many. And so now I see my life as sort of like I'm always sort of redefining, and every path that I take, it leads to something else that is perfect for me at that time. So I think the soul purpose and life purpose, I think they wind, and that's how it's supposed to be.
I think I'd like to read some of the words in the book, so people can really get a sense of the teaching coming through you. And I've chosen a page or a chapter, unless you have one that you want to focus on. But I would like you and I, to read some of this material today.
Yeah, let's tell me what page you'd like to go to, and I'll flip into that page.
261.
Okay.
Harmony with all that is. Announce your true name.
Okay.
By the way, people can go to the website, teachingsfromgod.com.
All right, I'm there with you now.
Okay. Why don't we do this for the next couple of pages? Let's you read a paragraph and I'll read one and go back and forth that way, and get some kind of a flow with the teachings. Okay.
Okay.
You can begin if you'd like.
Okay. So should I just start at the beginning of the chapter?
Yes.
Okay. And so we begin, dear ones. This is a great space you have provided. That is, an open heart and an open mind. It helps you to accelerate at this time and space reality that you call Earth. It is a great, great journey that is not part of a destination. It is such a beautiful, beautiful journey. You are some of the most magnificent beings, greatest co-creators, and greatest investigators of yourself. You are the greatest finders, dear ones, for against all odds you have found yourself looking your true self in the eyes, and know that you are home. By so many standards and so many misconceptions, you have begun to claim your truth and seek, inside a deep resonance, who you authentically are. And it is such a great identity to own up to. You are truth, each and every one of you.
Some of you believe in yourself and others don't, but each and every one of you is a part of the divine oneness that some of you refer to as God. Such a benevolent name and such a benevolent beingness. The greatest misconception about God is that you are separate. You need to win God over, and you must prove yourself to be good in order to receive the love that you deserve. But we say, dear one, look at it from our angle, the angle that we probe you to investigate from the other side of the veil. Simply put, the separation is non-existent.
And we say again, dear ones, trust what you've got. You've got the tools. You've got what it takes to jump right in. It may be uncomfortable and slightly strenuous at first, but it's the process of letting go of old notions and moving to new ventures that matters. Move into ones that support the Earth's changes, the universal changes, and the changes within the human body that is comprised of eternal universe. So you see it works together. Old notions cannot live on. They must be replaced and upgraded. It is our divine wish for you to move into flow with grace and appreciate for what is there and just trust the divine planning. Part of divine planning is divinely knowing that you are part of the plan and that your decisions are both valid and very beautiful.
You cannot make a wrong decision ever. They are all different vantage points that you have the ability to choose to select, but all are valid. If you choose that one is more suiting to you, that is free will, and all is well with that decision. Divine will is your free will, you see. So what you choose is always correct, and you will be supported in that path, whatever it is. Sometimes you need to jump into the grace beyond the mind and make crucial decisions that will go against previous conditions, even though it may seem incorrect.
Trust your heart and know what your inner being has to say and let that lead the way. We know you hear it all too often, but we repeat the answer, for the truth always remains the same. We would not keep repeating it unless it was integrated fully. This is the time to be brutally bold and claim your power. And sometimes it may shock you how much you can do to stick up for who you are, and that may be what it takes for a major breakthrough. Don't be afraid. Angels, your guides, your master, and know that as you move forward in whatever way you feel and your heart is the best for you, that you are divinely supported. So yes, stay in communication with your guides and your source. You may use whatever name you wish to put on us. But also know that even if resistance comes from this idea of being guided from a higher source, you are still not alone.
You do not need to feel pressure to put a label on us if it feels inauthentic. You may just be that light being that knows us so deeply that you can't imagine a name to us that would do justice. And we agree, it doesn't. But for you, dear human beings, it is always valid. We are always in service to you. So you must follow what feels good. That is the lesson and the ultimate teaching. Do what feels good, and don't just discard this as another one of these cliche teachings.
I'm laughing at
They're
that.
funny, aren't they? They're funny,
yeah. Dear one, if this is the only message that you ever integrate from this entire book of great teachings, we say, no words are just thrown out for you to take it or leave its purposes. We see you each as a collective and also personally. We see the potentials for the earth plane, and we deliver messages that are precise and currently the most profound words that will deeply touch and move each human being who reads the words. So we know that if you are reading these words, you have been divinely guided, and we're here with you. That is the validation to accept that you are no coincidence, and neither is your life. Your life is divinely inspired and as is every human being. Coincidences do not exist.
You often feel the most discord when you feel alone, left out, or like you've made a mistake. To that we say, dear one, we know you are in the dark, and for good reasons too, but at least recognize the synchronicities. We are here with you. We are always here with you, and we reach out in physical form and touch you in this way because you are often so convinced that you're alone and separate when it's so opposite. It is time to notice that all the coincidences are beautiful divine gifts that have been set in front of you, just for you, so personally. though we are a collective, one speaking in physical terms, you are also in what you perceive as individual bodies. Even as a collective, nobody is left out. We say nobody because that is how you can relate to us, but we are just energy, light, and love.
Mm-hmm.
You want to just take a break and just comment on any of this?
Yeah, I do. Oh,
I think it's a good idea, yeah.
It's. I haven't actually really been reading this recently, but there was some things in there that were definitely good for me.
Right.
To hear now. It's interesting that we were talking about, the golden paths right before this, and kind of went into that in a way as well. Being supported in your free will decisions. And also, I like the part in that passage that we just read about being in contact with your, you can say angels or guides or master, whatever word you want to use, but that higher source or your divine, because it is a two-way street. And I think a lot of people, it's interesting when they come to me and they have this expectation that they think that they want some God to give them everything that they want, but they're not willing to ask for what they want. And they don't realize that they're kind of just sitting idly in the corner, feeling bad for themselves and not taking their life into their own hands. And part of that has to do with having that connection with your divine nature. And that's one thing that I think I've realized is the biggest teaching in this entire book, is really putting energy into that. And as human beings, there's free will, so we have to ask for what we want. We have to listen. And whenever I find myself in a place of redirecting myself, maybe feeling a tad bit lost, or maybe feeling really connected, either way, I'm always sort of listening to myself and my inner voice. And I don't know, comment on what you got from that, but that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, one of the parts that struck me in that is that you're not, even though you may feel alone, you're not, and in that you really, that we are divine in human form, and that that our decisions are valid and supported. That so I may think, at times second guess myself, but then know that my intentions are correct, and that there is and I'm following. I feel like I'm following a certain guidance without even thinking about it. It's sort of like making decisions, but knowing that it's not just you making the decision. It just feels like I'm not making the decision by myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you ever get that feeling? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've sort of been in a phase for a couple of months of feeling that, whereas, I just don't come from this monkey mind standpoint anymore, where I used to be always like, wanting to muscle test, should I eat this, or should I do this, or should I, trying to get guidance about every single little tiny detail of my day. And now I feel that it's all just unfolding with me. I have a grander intention, I have a grander vision, and I feel that, no matter how much I do in a day or how little I do in a day, it's all funneling into that purpose. And for that reason, I think I've just let go of a lot of the stress around all of the little details, and now it's all just unfolding, right before me, and very naturally. So I find it's interesting, to to see that evolution for me, because I used to be, maybe even 5 years ago, I used to be like always always like, channeling about really silly things, little details, which is totally great too, but I don't feel that need anymore. So, yeah.
It's sort of, I hear you. That's great, because you've discovered this at such a young age, and I've been stumbling about for years, beyond your age, still stubbing my toe and figuring it out. Although you obviously you got great support here with the teachings. But, we all have the support. It's just not you. And, because you've channeled this material, teachings from God, greeting your soul and revealing the divine within. I want to say that really clear. Greeting your soul and revealing the divine within. It's so easy to just read over words,
Yeah.
But, but this is really greeting your soul and revealing the divine within. And it feels like when we're uniting with our soul, that's a true partnership, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like what you just said there too, and I'd like to comment because about stubbing your toe, because I feel like, if anything, I'm going deeper into myself than I ever have before. All of these, really high teachings are great, and at the same time, when I signed up to do that, it really allowed me to see the depth of my experience in a much more vibrant, colorful, and even painful way at times, because when I sort of made that contract with myself that, I want to go as deep with this as I possibly can. I want to fulfill this mission. I want to bring it to the world. And I was very clear about that. And I said, in my meditation, I'll do anything to do it. I want to be of service. That's what I feel that I'm here to do. And I remember hearing, okay, here we go. And so with that comes a level of transparency that has been difficult in some ways, and I talk about it openly because I feel like that's the beauty in what I'm doing as well. It's not just the teachings and but real, like, spiritual work is all of the human experience. And I love how we always talk about this on your show, because I feel like that's what's really relatable.
Yes.
Is all of that. And so I really feel like in the past couple of years, like constant string of like stubbing my toe, every 5 seconds. But I have started to get to a point of being compassionate about that, and it's part of the beauty. And I wouldn't want it to be different, but it can be really challenging. And but I feel like that is what makes a good teacher, and I see myself as I really want to learn all of the aspects of being human, and not just be really great at at channeling and opening up that vessel, which for me is super easy. So that's the thing, is it's funny because people look at me and like, oh, what an amazing spiritual gift, and everything must be so easy for you, and because they just see that aspect of me. And I've always been really clear on that way, like ever since I was really young. That's super easy for me, tuning into that level. But the human stuff and the day-to-day stuff is more of a challenge. So it's been a balance and really good teaching for me to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I find that human experience is it's both empowering and humbling, because empowering in the sense that I find that when I am humbled by, for instance, stumbling my toe, I'm like, ouch, it comes unexpected, and yet if you get enough of those ouches, it'll help to. For me, it stops me momentum toward going someplace that may not be good for me, and it helps me to slow my pace down and begin, whether it's a sickness or an injury, physically, emotionally. Whatever stops you so you can be more present, because this is in order to really get these messages, I feel we have to kind of slow down and kind of unplug from our own ideas of what is the best thing to do, and just detach from that for a little while and allow something real to come in. That has served me well, I think, like that.
Yeah, that's what I noticed myself saying, when I was writing this book, and as I wrote the second book as well, is my intention going into my meditation was always, first of all, for the highest of light to come through and, give the message that was the best for the collective, but also for me personally, because for the first maybe 400 pages of the book that I obviously took out, it was just for me personally, but I would say, like, show me what I don't want to see, or show me what I need to hear, instead of what would I like to hear, what would I want to go into the depths of what could really come through. And when I did that, it opened up the door, because I wasn't filtering what I wanted. I was just allowing the truth to come through, and that's like a really difficult barrier to cross, I feel, is, we have our own desires, and that's the test of how clear you can be. And as long as we're human, there's going to be a veil, so you can't be completely pure, obviously, but
no.
Nor do you want to. That's why we're here. But
right.
But I definitely noticed a shift in the information and the depth when I got out of the way of myself, and that's when I went into some really deep experiences and really healed things from other times, and saw more about what I'm here to do. And so it's beautiful, but definitely not for the faint of heart.
Not for the faint of heart. I recollected that I feel like I've made a contract somewhere, maybe before I was born, who knows, but it's very clear to me, give me whatever experiences I need to grow, no matter what. Now, no matter, so I'm walking a thin line, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
But it's a line I've chosen because I really want to make this life really work. I want to make it really count,
It's such a courageous thing to say, and I know for me too. I mean, I didn't know what I was signing up for.
Yeah. I mean,
it's right. You can feel that it's right, but wow, I mean, the depth of. I think I had to grow up really fast after making that intention, because I was thrown into a much more real experience, because I want to be present as well in this life experience, and that was a shift that I had to make from my 16-year-old self, that I was beginning this journey, and I was so in this other energy, in this other realm all of the time, that I was almost not even integrated with the life around me, and people would look at me and like snapping in front of my face, like, are you still there?
Well, it's no wonder you're these words are coming out of you.
Yeah, and it just, that presence, wouldn't ever stop. And I remember, going to orchestra on Saturdays and going to my quartet practice, and I just felt like oh my gosh, I can't even hardly communicate with people around me because it was just so different. And so that's when I sort of realized, okay, I need to come to a middle point. And once I did that, you know, it sort of integrated that the depth of my like spiritual experience integrated with my personality and, you know, my human expression. And now I feel that it's really integrated well, and I, you know, have really good friendships and connections, and I find that to be another expression of, you know, what I'm here to do is to make those connections. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, one of the connections that you and I really connect with, and for me, you are part of the community, not only with the raising consciousness, but in the kirtan community as well. And I feel we're all brothers and sisters in this community. That's the way I feel, you know, and I feel the love that because I know that you do kirtan, that you lead kirtan, I know what's going on there because I know that experience, right? Mm-hmm. So I know what you're going through in the you know releasing yourself, surrendering to the divine, feeling the oneness, being part of something beyond yourself. I'm sure that you had this before, but do you feel that kirtan it helps to accelerate that?
Yeah, I would actually love to dive into this really quick because so you played that track and it all sounds great and everything, but this is a great example of that contract that I made with myself, that I wanted to move through the uncomfortable things in order to heal what I needed to heal. Yeah, and kirtan has been my saving grace in a lot of ways because a lot of people didn't know this about me until I recently put this video up on YouTube, but I didn't sing at all until this past year. I mean, not in the shower, not any time. I had some really difficult things in my childhood where I just basically shut down my voice, and I felt small a lot of the time, and I was sort of just really, really, really shy because of these difficulties that I had with a teacher when I was younger, and so I just sort of felt shame around everything about myself when I was a kid, and I remember saying to myself, like, feeling something underneath all of that I would like to sing, but I was still like, that thought even was just embarrassing. And I said to myself, I remember thinking at some point, I'll do that in my next life. I was imagining myself on a stage, and it was just, the thought was embarrassing. So I just said to myself, okay, I'll just do it in my next life. And just thought it was absolutely never going to happen. And then I met Ragini, and I mean, I know this sounds super dramatic, but it really just, it shifted everything for me, because when I saw her on stage and I just felt like I wanted to embody all that she was embodying when she was there and playing the harmonium, and something just really clicked for me. And so I made this blessing to myself, or this prayer to myself. It was over the summer, and I said, okay, I'm going to try this, like, just in the comfort of my own space. Nobody could be home or anything. Like, I had to be completely by myself. And at the beginning, I was like embarrassing myself, just like singing, and I couldn't really do it for a couple of months. And then I just said to myself, okay, when it's the right time, you know, help me out. Like, I'm like, you know, I'm just like, help me out. I need to find my voice, and when it's the right time, then I'll be ready. And I just waited until one day I woke up, and all of a sudden I felt like I was ready, and it was the weirdest feeling, most natural feeling as well. And then I made a little Instagram video, and Jai Utal commented on it. And I was like, oh my God, it's Jai Utal. and that was the start of it. He encouraged me, and Ragini also as well. My friend Ragini encouraged me as well. And so it took off, and basically the short of the story is I had a band by October, and we had our first kirtan in November, and then like 2 weekends ago, Ragini was here, and we did a kirtan together in my home with my band, and it's just been an incredible thing. But yeah, that was another version. The kirtan is another version of how, having that deeper intention to heal those really difficult things, it's really possible, and sometimes it feels unimaginable, and there's magic behind intention. So that's all I'll say about that.
Okay. We're going to do a short station break in just a few seconds.
From Bennington to Broad Albion and from Catskill to Corinth, we're everywhere. This is 91.5 WRPI Troy.
And I have ready to play Hare Krishna. Would you like a chant that you sent me? Do you want me to play that now?
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
So this is a new one. We just recorded this. My friend Ananta and I recorded this on Sunday, so it's super fresh.
Great. And who is Ananta?
He's my friend that we just started recording together. He's in my band. Shout out to Ananta. I know you're listening. But yeah, we started making this album together recently, and it's just magical all around, and I'm so excited to share it.
Here it is. Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing your kirtan. That's beautiful.
Thanks. I'm a fan of that one.
To be able to compose kirtan, that's really, I haven't gone to that step. I know Mike Cohen. Did I talk to you? Do you know Mike?
I don't.
Yeah, Mike Cohen he teaches kirtan, and I know a number of my friends have been. See, he taught me a little harmonium when he was around, and I didn't know whether you knew him or not. But so who is your teacher with? Is it Ananta your teacher with kirtan?
No, I have taught myself, I guess.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah. No, I learned by ear. When I started playing harmonium, I had already listened to a ton of kirtan, so I just sort of like learned by ear, and then the singing completely intuitive as well. So no, but when we collaborate, it's a totally natural thing. We barely even talk about the direction. Normally, he has something in mind on guitar, and then I fill in with voice, and so yeah, now we're just sort of like cleaning up a few different tracks that we really like, and then coming up with more ideas. But this album is just sort of coming together really naturally.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that, and it's exciting for me to hear your kirtan, Courtney, and I consider those people that have a love for it, I feel a little closer to,
Mm-hmm.
I think we have something beautiful that we're all connected with. And we know it. We know what it is. It's no secret. We understand what the attraction is here.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really magical. I think there's just an energy behind it that I feel so attracted to, and the melodies are amazing, but there's just such an ancient feeling behind it, and I think that's what I noticed when I first heard Ragini's CD back, 6 years ago when I heard it for the first time, is just, I don't know, it felt very familiar to me, and now that I'm doing it myself, it's like, it just feels like coming home.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so we're going to be, we may get together, I may see you in person at the Midwest Kirtan and Yoga Festival. I think it's the last weekend in September of this year. Are you going to be there?
I sure hope so. I'm intending. I'm putting on my board.
Kata Blifford, right?
Yeah, Kata and Ragini will be there.
Katie, right? Amazing. Midwest Kirtan. I've been to about 3 Midwest Bhakti Fests. They don't do it anymore there. And thank God Gary Brockman stepped up, who I met in the Midwest when I went to the Midwest Kirtans. And I truly love that the people in the Midwest and the players and the kirtan artists and the people that like kirtan. So it's sort of a reunion for me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it should be fun. I hope I can go.
Yeah, Kata I have not met, but I certainly love her kirtan. Just amazing stuff. And Ragini I've loved for years and years, and she's like the premier kirtan artist. She's not, even though she doesn't travel much from the Midwest, she's known all over. She's a top-notch kirtan artist. When she chants, we know we're in for a really good time.
Oh yeah, my house is still like vibrating from here last week. I mean, we had like 50 people or something in our basement, and it was a party for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God, people want to know. Courtney had a kirtan birthday party with Ragini. I mean, I'm thinking, wow, that's the best kind of party I can think of.
Yeah. I have the full live stream on my Facebook page if people want to watch it.
Yes. Now, people can go to your website for your Facebook page?
Yeah. Well, you can just search my name on Facebook and you can find me on there. It's actually on my private page, so you can friend me on Facebook.
Courtney Amundson, and Amundson. And Courtney Amundson. Can you hear that phone ringing in the background?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Hey, quiet, you. Oh, my God, someone's calling me. Of course I'm not going to answer it. Courtney wrote, I want to read this that you wrote on the back of the book. The essence of the work that is being launched with teachings from God is to uncover our true nature, the divine within. That once discovered will launch every person on a path of empowerment. The teachings help seekers to find, discover, remember the limitless aspect of human capacity. I don't want to gloss over these words, Courtney. Limitless aspects of human capacity so that we can attain more freedom. Oh, I always love freedom in our daily living. Free from limiting beliefs that hold us back from our potential. Free to create outcomes that we dared not imagine previously. Free to live unencumbered for those who dare to lift the veil. Wow.
Shout out to my mama for writing that.
That is
my mom
awesome.
Wrote that.
Well, your mom is awesome.
Yeah, I was really struggling. She wrote that really well.
Yeah, it's so beautiful and it's so true. It rings so well. It rings so true. And I remember all of my life. My life is always about, from very early on, is about freedom, liberation, freedom, self-discovery, to know God, to sort of muddle my way through this the best I can, and discover what, because I always felt the kernel of truth. There's always a purity within me that I wanted to discover. I know there's a purity, and I am discovering, and it's beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah, I think freedom is a really important part of any sort of spiritual practice. It should be about empowerment and freedom, and encourage you to find it within yourself instead of within some force outside of you.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much for being with us again, Courtney, and always wonderful.
Oh,
and thank you. Sometimes we talk at the same time, and then we both stop.
No, it is my pleasure. I really love being on your show, and I like the integration between the teachings and the kirtan and all of it.
I do too. I like that we're including more and more kirtan too. And did you say Ragini is working on a new album?
I've heard that. Yes.
Okay, it's not official then. I got you. So, but I've always told her anyway that the albums that she does have, man, I could just hear them. Oh, I never tire of those chants. Never.
I know. I've heard some of the new stuff, and it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you again. Courtney, if you'd like to stay on the line, I'll speak with you off air. Again, teachings from God, greeting your soul and revealing the divine within. Courtney Amundson, Amundson. And thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.